If you had walked into that ballroom 10 minutes earlier, you would have bet every dollar you owned on the billionaire. So would everyone else. By the time it was over, the richest man in the room was lying flat on his back, and the quiet security guard everyone ignored had become the only person he wanted to talk to. But to understand how that happened, you have to understand who Nathan Torres really was. Nathan Torres wasn't supposed to be remarkable. At least, that was what most people believed. At 34 years old, he wore a black security uniform instead of an expensive tailored suit. His shoes were polished but worn. His watch cost less than the average guest's dinner. His name wasn't on the invitation list. He wasn't there to network. He wasn't there to impress investors. He wasn't there to shake hands with celebrities. He was there because someone had to make sure everyone else got home safely. Nathan preferred it that way. Invisible people were rarely bothered. Invisible people avoided office politics. Invisible people finished their shift and went home. And going home was the only part of the day that really mattered. Because someone was waiting for him. Someone who believed he could fix anything. Daddy. The memory made him smile as he adjusted the radio clip to his shoulder. That morning, before leaving for work, his 7-year-old daughter had wrapped both arms around his waist. Daddy, don't forget. He smiled. Forget what? My pink belt. Nathan pretended to think. The pink backpack. Lily giggled. No. The pink shoes. She folded her tiny arms. No. The pink dinosaur. She laughed so hard, she almost dropped her cereal spoon. My karate belt. Nathan snapped his fingers dramatically. That's right. I promised. Lily nodded with complete confidence. You always keep. Those words stayed with him all day, because she believed them without question. Ever since Emily, his wife, had died 3 years earlier, Nathan had become mother and father at the same time. He learned how to braid hair. He learned which stuffed animal had to sleep on which side of the pillow. He learned that nightmares disappeared faster when Dad stayed an extra 5 minutes. He learned how expensive children's shoes were, how terrifying hospital bills could become, how lonely a house sounded after bedtime. Most importantly, he learned that children didn't care how much money you made. They cared whether you came home. That was why he had left behind the life almost nobody at Morrison Events knew about. To them, Nathan was simply another security supervisor. Reliable, quiet, professional. To a very different group of people. He had once been something else entirely. But those days were over. Or so he believed. The Riverside Grand Hotel looked more like a palace than a hotel. Crystal chandeliers stretched across ceilings painted with gold leaf. A string quartet played softly beside a marble staircase. Servers carried silver trays loaded with champagne glasses that cost more than Nathan's monthly grocery budget. Luxury cars filled the entrance. Private drivers waited outside. Inside, millionaires congratulated billionaires for donating amounts they would never notice missing. Nathan had worked enough charity galas to understand the routine. Smile, shake hands, take pictures, write a large check, receive even larger applause. Repeat next year. His job wasn't to judge anyone. His job was to notice what everyone else ignored. Unlocked exits, crowd movement, blind spots, unattended bags, suspicious behavior. While guests admired decorations, Nathan counted security cameras. While investors admired paintings, Nathan memorized escape routes. Old habits. Habits that never disappeared. His radio crackled. Habits that never disappeared. His radio crackled. North hallway clear. Copy. VIP entrance secured. Copy. Everything was normal. Exactly the way Nathan liked it. Until applause exploded from the ballroom. Not polite applause. Real applause. The kind that made hundreds of people stop whatever they were doing. Nathan turned instinctively. Crowds always meant potential problems. He walked toward the noise. The ballroom had transformed into an exhibition area. Tatami mats covered one corner. Japanese banners hung behind a small demonstration stage. Nearly every guest had gathered around it. Nathan stayed near the back. Security officers didn't push through crowds unless necessary. Then he saw the man standing at the center. Richard Chun. Even Nathan recognized the name. Founder of one of the world's largest cybersecurity companies. Net worth measured in billions. Magazine covers. Television interviews. Philanthropist. Investor. Business legend. Tonight, however, Richard wasn't wearing the mask of a billionaire. He wore a spotless white GI tied with a black belt faded from decades of use. The announcer smiled proudly. Ladies and gentlemen, It is my honor to introduce 8th Dan Aikido Master Richard Chun. The audience erupted. Phones appeared instantly. Nathan folded his arms. Richard bowed respectfully before inviting volunteers onto the mat. The first attacker grabbed his wrist. Richard redirected the motion effortlessly. The volunteer landed safely. Applause. The second threw a punch. Richard stepped aside. Another graceful throw. More applause. A third rushed forward. Again. Perfect technique. Perfect timing. Perfect control. Nathan watched carefully. Richard wasn't pretending. His skill was genuine. His balance. His footwork. His posture. Everything reflected decades of disciplined training. Most people only saw beautiful throws. Nathan saw something different. Every volunteer attacked.